Well, Hamas says it holds Israel and US President Joe Biden fully responsible for the raid on al-Shifa hospital. It says in a statement the Biden administration essentially gave the green light for the raid on Tuesday. But the White House responded to the charge on Wednesday, saying it did not encourage Israel to enter the hospital. Well, for more on this, we are joined by Kimberly Halkett, our White House correspondent. And this is basically an outright rejection of Hamas's claims, isn't it, Kimberly?
Yeah, that's right. The national security spokesperson, John Kirby, telling reporters that the Biden administration did not okay the military operation around the al-Shifa hospital. He says these are Israeli military operations that they themselves plan and the U.S. is not involved. And he goes on further to echo what the U.S. president said on Monday, which is that hospitals should be protected. Having said that, we should also point out, though, that the statement coming from John Kirby follows a statement that was somewhat different just one day before, where essentially the United States and John Kirby himself seemed to justify, and sort of as Hamas has suggested, green light, the reasons for the Israeli military to go into the al-Shifa complex or compound, arguing that there was intelligence that, in fact, Hamas had been staging or at least had been holding captives there and had also been using tunnels underneath the hospital to work and have military command centers there, as well as other military operations. Now, we should point out that when the Israeli military went there, there were no captives that were found. And also, the United States has not provided any of the so-called evidence it says that, or any of the intelligence that it says it has, even though it says there were multiple sources of this intelligence provided. So once again, the U.S. is saying that it has intelligence, but at the same time, it is also saying that it believes these hospitals should be protected.
And at the same time, there's a new poll out showing that US public support for Israel is actually dropping. What sort of pressure is that putting on Biden and the rest of the White House?
A lot of pressure, given the fact that this is growing in its intensity. Not only has there been international protests and international condemnation of U.S. support for Israel, but it is also happening within the Biden administration. And now we have new poll numbers that indicate that the pressure on the Biden administration from the American people is becoming even more intense. What we know is that the calls for the U.S. president to pressure Israel into calling for a ceasefire is growing ever more. At the initial start of this conflict, support for Israel was standing at about 41%, but the latest poll numbers, that has shown that it has dropped now to just 32% support of Israel.
OK, thanks so much for that, Kimberly. Kimberly Halkett, our White House correspondent there.